Hey everyone, thanks for joining Proverbs Guys Ministries. We have a very special guest, our favorite creationist, Dr. Hovind in the house. Doc, you want to give us a plug for your channel and tell everybody where they can find you at?
Well, thank you, sir. Good to be with you. My name's Kent Hovind. Let's see, I live in Lenox, Alabama, right north of Pensacola, 70 miles, Pensacola, Florida. And we have a ministry here called Dinosaur Adventureland. It's all free. It's all fun. The kids go crazy here. It's 140 acres and 17 lakes and ponds, fishing, boating. Science Center, that's 12,000 square feet of cool stuff. Probably the best taxidermy collection in Alabama, maybe in several states. Okay, it's unreal the stuff God's provided here. Yeah, it's an old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church, Genesis Baptist Church. They can get us on Genesis Baptist Church channel on YouTube and on Kent Hovind Official on Facebook, TikTok, a whole bunch of places. Just go to our website, drdino.com, and you can see all the list of all the places where we put out lots of videos. I think over 25 million of them now in 42 languages, defending the Bible as being scientifically accurate. God said he made everything in 6 days. Everything. That would mean dinosaurs lived with man. So we teach a lot on dinosaurs here. So yeah, we're glad to have you. Come visit. It's all free. We got cabinets we'll put you up in. After 2 days, we'll give you a hammer or a shovel, put you to work.
Great. All right, so the topic tonight, we're going to be going back and doing some post-debate review that actually wasn't supposed to be a debate against Steven Anderson. It was supposed to be a friendly sit-down, and it completely fell apart. What happened?
I thought I was completely blindsided. I preached at his church. He's a good preacher, Baptist preacher, and I preached at his church before, and his people loved my videos, and a lot of my material still circulated around his church. I was really shocked, I guess, A, at how he handled the thing, and B, what he was upset about. Totally unnecessary. I think it was sad. But anyway.
In my opinion, I'm wondering if it wasn't a way for him to become relevant again. He's been banned from just about every country around the world because he's a hate preacher. And I'm thinking that maybe he thought somehow the only way to get back in people's good graces was to take a swipe at the great Kent Hovind. What do you think?
I can't be the judge of that. It sounds like a logical possibility, but God be the judge of that. I can't see his heart.
All right. Well, he had several disagreements with you. I don't want to get in real deep to the moon disagreement, but I do want you to touch on that because I think the version of history that he portrays is a very perverted one when it comes to an imperfect world our God would create. And I like how you defended that God made it perfect. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I was shocked to hear him start teaching. Apparently, he's starting a new movement thinking, well, God made the earth to look old. No, God made the world perfect. It's the flood destroyed the world, and man's sin has destroyed the world, but God made a perfect world. But he says, like the craters on the moon was one thing he talked about. I got the moon globe here. Thank you. The moon has craters on one side that are much bigger than the craters on the other side. And I say, look, one of the most logical options I can see is when the fountains of the deep broke open during the flood, the crust of the earth burst open. Say there was 10 miles of rock on top of the water underneath. There was water in the crust of the earth. I cover that in great detail on video number 2, all the Bible verses about how God created the earth on top of the water. What's now on top of the earth, our oceans, used to be in the crust. Well, God made the earth to be habitable. I think you could probably live anywhere in the world for the first 1,600 years from the creation till the flood. And the water that burst forth would have had 30 tons per square inch of pressure on it from 10 miles of rock. That would launch things off the surface of the earth. I think rocks were launched out from the cracking of the crust and the weight of all that rock shooting stuff up. Well, just a theory. That's one explanation for some of those came up and hit the moon, which is why the direct hit would have bigger craters. So the stuff that flew on past and came back by moon's gravity, which is much weaker, would have littler craters. The back side of the moon has small craters. The front side has big craters. It's just a fact of science. Now, what caused it, I don't know. It's my theory that I think the fountains of the deep did that breaking open. He said God made the moon with craters. I don't believe that. He said God made Adam with a belly button. I don't believe that for a second. But he can believe that if he wants. I don't know how you're going to prove such a thing until we get to heaven. But I think the whole concept of creating the earth to look old is a compromise to try to get somebody in to believe you who is an evolutionist or atheist. And a lot of the people who get mad at me and leave our ministry for some reason, they go to the atheist channels right away. That says something.
Sir, if it falls, it will become flat. So don't drop it.
Okay. We don't want a flat earth.
So Stephen made a lot of bizarre claims. The belly button one was the weirdest. I'm not quite sure how Stephen Anderson could have, or how Adam could have a belly button since he wasn't born, but that was the first weird claim he made. The other weird claim he made was referring to when he attacked your timeline, and he claimed that the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt for over 450 years. And the only way I can justify the mistake he made is that he's counting them in slavery from the time they first arrived in Egypt. But that would make Joseph a slave and second in command of all of Egypt. I find that bizarre, don't you?
Well, yeah, and I did some slides on that. How long were they in Egypt? My timeline is exactly correct. His is wrong. Okay, many people have, was it 430 years? Contradictions in the Bible. Here it is. There, okay. Oh, DV. Put my slides back up there, brother. How long were they in Egypt? Atheists love to pick on this and say there's a contradiction in the Bible. Let me get to bend way over here, brother. Okay. No, there's no contradiction. Was it 215 or 400 or 430? And he made a big deal out of that my timeline is wrong. People have this has been a question people have answered hundreds of times for the last hundreds of years, okay? Was it only 215? Was it 400? Was it 430? There's a great article on Answers in Genesis about that. How long were they in Egypt? See, it takes lots of different ingredients to go in to make a cake, okay? So let's look at all the different factors in this supposed contradiction. We know from the dates given in the Bible how old Adam was when he was born, Genesis chapter 5. You can get my chart. And the dates, you can simply add them up. The Bible dates add up to the earth being created about 6,000 years ago, 4,000 BC. Then we know that God called Abram, and changed his name to Abraham. We know the date of that was about 2000 BC. God called him. So God said to Abram, I know you're a stranger in a land that's not yours. They're going to be your children are going to be a stranger in a land that's not theirs, your seed. And they shall afflict them 400 years. Well, for the first 30 years, they weren't afflicted. Joseph invited his family to come down and live with them. And Joseph was the vice pharaoh. He fed them and took care of them and all that stuff. So for 30 years, they were not afflicted. For 400 years, they were. So one verse says 430, one verse says 400. Well, they're both right. They were in Egypt for 430 years, but they were afflicted for 400 years. I don't understand why anybody thinks that's a contradiction. They shall entreat them evil for 400 years. And about the fourth generation. So it says, I say this, the covenant, the land was 430 years, okay? And they claim it's a contradiction. And he wants to change what people have already settled hundreds of times. They've done all the math on this and say, look, they were in Egypt for 430 years, but they were afflicted for 400. It's not a contradiction at all. I don't know what he's trying to do, but so they were in Egypt 430 years. Doesn't say they were afflicted for 430 years. They were in Egypt. Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, mocked Isaac. That starts the calendar right there for the affliction of the children of Israel. Because apparently Abraham was an old man when Ishmael was born, because his wife said, I can't have children, marry my servant girl, Hagar, the Egyptian. So he had a half Egyptian child, Ishmael. Then years later had Isaac. And Sarah was apparently still nursing Isaac at 5 years old. And some countries do that. Nurse the babies up till they're 4 or 5. I guess saves on the grocery bill. But and so the son Hagar was mocking him. Genesis 21 talks about that, Galatians 4, etc. So the promise was 430 years before the law was given. His argument that my timeline is wrong, at first place, I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right on that. And it's not worth fighting or splitting the church over. I was baffled by the whole thing. So I went through the other night on my show. What show was that I did, brother? The night after that supposed debate. But many people, there's just a lot of Google, how long were they in Egypt? Now the atheists make a big deal out of it because they don't want there to be a contradiction. From the call of Abraham. This is my timeline he's objecting to. And Abraham, oh, there we go. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. My timeline's right. Not going to change it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doc.
Stephen, may I? The thing for me, before I speak, let me just say that I am one of those that actually love Stephen Anderson, and I was very surprised. There's a lot of people that call him a hate preacher, but I have been helped a lot by him,
Yep, me
and
too.
he has given some very good lectures. He has studied the Bible and giving the correct message of the Bible. He's preaching the right gospel. But there are some things that if you are trying to compensate for things that you don't want to look into, like carbon dating not actually working, and you are trying to compensate for that by saying that the earth was created old, then you are falling in a trap, which is you are creating another God, which is playing tricks on us. The literal 6-day creation is a better explanation. And here is where my problem comes in. You can say, just as you said, just as we heard Kent Hovind say here right now, without any influence from anyone, that this is my view, it's not worth fighting over it. You can have another view. And it's another thing to call someone who is on the same side and on the same camp with you, call him a charlatan and say that what you are doing is wrong and it's hurting the ministry. Now, that is a direct attack. And that's where I felt very disappointed, because we are supposed to use our ammunition to the enemy, and the enemy is the lies. Now, if we have some disagreements among each other, we can't. I have disagreements with Stephen. A lot of people find different Bibles to be better, but if one of them believes in the King James strongly, he will not attack the other person and say you are a danger to Christianity, you are evil. Like that is a thin line, which I got very surprised that Stephen Anderson didn't give you the respect that you should have for attacking every aspect of evolution and proving to people like me that I've been taught lies all my life, because I went to the university and I got myself a degree and I want to throw it in the garbage because everything they taught me was lies and I needed to find Ken Hovind. So in order to arrive to Jesus, there was like a gap which was created by universities. So you cannot go out there and just say you are what you are doing, your 6-day creation is hurting. So I'll leave it to that because it was already 5 minutes. It was for me a disappointment. I felt very sad that day. I hope he realizes that we all have different views. And we shouldn't be attacking each other for our views. We will be in heaven one day, and what matters is to make it there. If we keep attacking each other because they have a different view, then we are disrespecting God's greatest commandment, which is to love each other as ourselves. So would you like to have yourself attacked like that? Be called a charlatan and be called that your preaching is false and you are a false preacher? So why do you do this to a brother of yours? If you don't, then we're going to meet in heaven and we're going to laugh about it. Hey, you thought of 6 days, I thought of an old earth. Ha, ha, ha. So I'll leave it to that for now.
Okay.
Stephen, back to
All
you.
right. Well, the next one up, and that's a great point. I was very disappointed that you being a pillar in the community when it comes to defending creationism, he would take swipes at you. But another bizarre claim he made was that Abraham had no connection to the children of Israel. And I find that just very fascinating since he's literally the patriarch of the children of Israel.
The children of Israel are still God's chosen people. Now, they rejected their Messiah 2,000 years ago, major mistake. And he told them the day he was going to arrive in the prophets, and he told him he would come in on a donkey. He told them how, and they accepted him and cheered and clapped and threw their coats down. Yeah, here comes the Messiah. 3 days later, they crucified him. So God said, you Jews, I'm going to take you off the olive tree, the natural branch. I'm going to graft in the wild olive branch, Romans 11. I'm going to get some fruit off the Gentiles. And we are in now what is called the age of the Gentiles. And on my chart, which I use, and which we'll continue using, whether he likes it or not, this age of the Gentiles is from the crucifixion of Christ until the tribulation time, there's a 2,000-year period where God's been using the Gentiles to try to get some fruit. I'm Norwegian. I'm a Gentile. But God's not done. He's going to take us off because we're not producing much fruit either and put the Jews back in. And they are still God's chosen people. They're stubborn and rebellious, and he's hard-headed. He's have to, but they're still his people.
One thing that really confused me, Dr. Hovind, is that there were supposed to be two creationists on the stage that night agreeing on creationism, but Stephen took the position of evolutionist a lot more than any creationist position. And did it feel like to you that you ended up debating just another evolutionist?
It did some, yeah. I do so many programs, I can't keep them all straight in my head, but I've done 352 now, debates against atheists and evolutionists. And I kind of had the same feeling there, like, I thought this was my friend. I thought this was my ally. What happened here, I don't think about it anymore. It's over with. It's not something I'm dwelling on. I got plenty to do without him. And he's probably got a ministry he can run without me. So go plow. I'm plowing my row as straight and deep as I can. Somebody else is plowing a different row, great, okay? But I'm going to try to produce fruit for the master.
Well, and I know when you first got released, you did a lot of preaching. You helped Steven Anderson quite a bit. You even preached at his church. Do you have any idea, like in his mind, what happened for you to go from friend to foe basically overnight?
I was totally blindsided that night. I had no idea he was angry at me. Apparently, he's made a bunch of videos about me in his church preaching anti-Kent Hovind. I don't watch his stuff. I don't watch all the, you know how many anti-Hovind videos there are? I don't take time to watch them. Abe Lincoln one time, he was getting a lot of criticism about the Civil War from his own cabinet and people criticizing in letters to the editor and anti-Lincoln arguments in the newspaper. One of his counselors came and said, President Lincoln, you are getting so much criticism. Aren't you going to stop and answer the critics? He said, sir, there's a war going on. If I took time to stop and answer the critics, that's all I would do. He said, history will determine if I did the right thing or not. Now, can you name any of the critics of Abe Lincoln? Have you ever heard of Abe
South,
Lincoln?
but that's it.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Abe Lincoln?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, no, you're right. I can't think of a single critic, though.
Okay.
All right. So you and Stephen, you both preach from the Bible. One thing I appreciate about you, though, is you have a way where you can share the truth in a blunt way, but it doesn't come off hateful. You can tell that you have love and compassion for sinners. How does someone like Steven Anderson read the same Bible that we do, but come off so hateful in his preaching?
That I don't know. He's got to answer to God for that. I got to answer to God for me. So I guess the way I was raised, my dad was a Marine, World War II, sergeant in the Marines, only survivor of his platoon fighting the Japs. And he was such a patient man. I never heard him raise his voice except one time when I was 13. He was teaching me to drive the Volkswagen. And I kept popping the clutch and he kept telling me, let it out slow. And finally he had enough. He said, I said, let it out slow. I did not know the man knew how to yell. He was 6'2", 220 pounds of muscle, sergeant in the Marines, World War II, and a brilliant genius man, electrical engineer at Caterpillar Tractor Company. And I was raised to you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to scream and yell. Have you ever heard me scream and yell? Never? Okay.
Right.
So I just do it differently, I guess. I try to use logic and rationale. I met my first 7 years, we went to a Mennonite church in East Peoria, Illinois. They're a little similar to the Amish in some ways. And I like the story about the Amish guy, or the Quaker. They don't supposed to not ever get violent or not ever get angry. The Quaker said, sir, I would not harm thee for the world, but thou art standing where I'm about to shoot. So I guess my technique of like with the atheists, I can stay calm under fire pretty much. And I can sweetly and kindly tell them, you're stupid.
Now, one of my last questions for you, Dr. Hovind, is do you think you would be up for doing another debate with Stephen, or do you think your time is better served focusing on actual evolutionists?
I want to stick on the actual evolution topic. I get offers to debate on flat Earth and other topics and stuff like that. One thing, somebody sent me a link, and so I watched some of Steve Anderson's response after our. So I thought it was a discussion. I didn't know. I thought he was on our side. I didn't know it was a debate against him. But anyway, after that night, he did a show, he did a sermon at his church and called me what was the word he used?
A
A
charlatan?
polygamist. A polygamist.
Oh,
He said
And
he's
what?
married to multiple women.
Ah, polygamous. Okay.
Well, no, probably, married to more than one. No, this
No,
is
you
simply
said it right. The voice chopped off, and I didn't hear the word. But polygamous, yes, and I verified from the Greek that you said it correctly.
Well, this is I think when they get to that point with ad hominem attacks, they're desperately searching for something to make themselves look good and you look bad. I've got nothing to hide in my relationship with my wives. I was married for a virgin on my honeymoon. How many people can claim that? I would say, like Jesus would say, he's without sin, cast the first stone. So if you want to cast stones at me, answer these questions first. Were you a virgin on your honeymoon? If not, shut up. Did you stay faithful to your wife all the time you're married? I've never touched a woman I wasn't married to. We were married for 42 years, my first wife and I. When I got home from prison, she divorced me. She was afraid of the IRS. In Florida, you can't stop a divorce. It's a one-party consent. If one person wants it, they get it. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't know it was coming. I was completely blindsided. Came home from serving 9 years in prison. I wrote 42 books while I was in there, or 37 books in prison, and led 800 men to the Lord. I tried to serve God in prison. I thought I'm coming home and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Let's get back to work. And she divorced me. You can't stop that. So I had Mary Toko on my program. I started my YouTube channel right up again. I want to get the gospel out. And somebody said, Brother Hovind, you ought to investigate her for your wife. So I'd known about her for some time, her anti-vaccine stand and stuff, childhoodshots.com. And I appreciated that. I talked to her. And so I had her come down to Pensacola, had her on my program. And one of the staff members said, wow, there's the next Mrs. Hovind. Because my wife divorced me and my son made me pay $600 a month to rent a bedroom in my own house. Okay. And so we dated for a little while and ended up marrying her. After 9 months, I thought everything was fine. We heard brand new ministry up here, nothing but mud, trying to build this place out of nothing, the old gravel pit. And then she left. And I could go into more detail of, I think it was all the financial thing, but she left. I tried everything to get her back. Finally, I contacted the trustees of the ministry, said, what do I do? They said, Brother Hovind, you didn't leave. You were faithful. File an annulment. When you have a church wedding, you don't have to have a state divorce. You have to have a state, an annulment, a church annulment. So we did. I drove all the way to North Carolina, gave it to her, said, I'm sorry. You've been gone now for 9 months. I've tried to get you back. You don't want to come back. Nope, not coming back. Okay. The marriage is annulled. And so then one of the people that was working here in ministry for about a year doing our landscaping, Cindy, and Mary were close friends. And Cindy, after we dated for a while, I said, okay, I'll marry Cindy instead. I thought she was, and we had 2.5 years married. And we can go a long story there, but she ended up leaving me and falsely accusing me of all kinds of body slamming her and stuff. That stuff's still in the court. And there was no body slam. I've never even yelled at her, okay? She was slapped me and hurt me in many ways. But anyway, she left. So again, what do you do? The Bible says in 1 Corinthians, if the unbelieving depart, you're not in bondage. I didn't depart. I didn't leave anybody. And so I said, what do we do? The board member said, well, Kent, she left. What do you do? You're free. File an annulment. It's over with. Because it wasn't the whole marriage license idea started after Abraham Lincoln, after the Civil War. Why is the state involved in marriage? License comes from the word licentious. You need their permission to get married. It's always been a church issue for centuries, for millennia. So anyway, that's another long story. So with Cindy, we filed an annulment after trying everything to get her back and continuing to pay her the money she was supposed to be making if she had spousal agreement. Continue to pay her. Finally, the trustee said, stop. She's gone. She's not coming back. I said, Lord, now what do I do? I said, Lord, look, I'm not going to go fishing. I'm not going to date. You make one jump in the boat. If you want me to have a wife, make one jump in the boat. So I just went on preaching like I always do, And then Sandra called from Central Florida. She said, my kids have been watching your videos for years. Make a long story short, I married Sandra, and boy, am I the happiest man in the world. So, right?
You ended up with a Proverbs 31 wife, that's for sure.
Oh, man, Proverbs 31. Yes, sir. Okay. So I know I'm not a polygamist. Why would he accuse me of that? That's evil to accuse somebody of being a polygamist or adulterer. I'm not committing adultery. Never have. Okay. Never touched a woman I wasn't married to. Never. I think those who have are disqualified from throwing stones. Drop your rock and shut up, okay? If you weren't a virgin on your honeymoon, if you weren't faithful to your wife, if you ever had sex outside of marriage, shut up. You're not qualified to judge me, okay? I'm going to stand before God. I think I got clean hands. Lord, I tried my best with each one. I tried my best. You can ask Sandra if I'm a good husband. She will say, I didn't know they made them like this. Yeah, so I'm fine. We're fine. Okay.
Amen.
Like
Well,
Grandpa
Pastor,
said, hey, just because there's snow on the roof, don't mean there ain't a fire in the furnace. Okay.
well, that's all the questions I have for you. If there's anything else you want to touch on, you're free to do so. Otherwise, we'll let you get back to probably going right back to work if I know you.
No, I believe Sandra's home. I got something else in mind, but so no, I think it's sad that he did that. I don't know why. I can't be his judge. I'll still be his friend. He's welcome to come here. He's got 7 kids, last I heard. Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. The kids will have a blast. I think it was unnecessary to take that slap at an ally. You know, the Russians and Americans were allies during World War II, even though we differ with them on all kinds of things. We had allied because we got a bigger enemy called Hitler. I think the bigger enemy is the devil, and it's silly for him to waste ammunition shooting me. So I'm done. If he wants to have another debate, I don't think I would. I'm not a polygamist. I'm only married to one woman, very happily. I've never had sex outside of marriage, ever, okay? I do not go to the atheist channels for support when I want to bash somebody, okay? Like, so many of them do that. Like, what? Think. Shouldest thou help the ungodly? I mean, read your Bible. Let's see. I believe he's wrong about his teaching that the world was created to look old. Some people even teach there are fossils already in the ground. That's deceitful. That's a deceitful God to give Adam and Eve a belly button. It's not part of your normal anatomy. It's a scar from where the umbilical cord was. Okay, I taught anatomy for years. I can explain all that. So I think it's wrong to say the moon had craters and God made it that way to deceive us. I think when he teaches the earth already had layers, I think that's wrong. The layers are from the flood of Noah. So he can teach what he wants, do what he wants in his church, but I'm not going to fight him.
And that's the
defend
difference.
myself. If he attacks me, I'll defend myself. Okay. But
Yeah, that's the difference. You're saying, I believe they came from the flood. It makes more sense that they came from the flood. You're not saying that your theory is actually hurting the truth, which in fact it does. But you are not attacking him that way and creating a fan base that knows that he's a Kent Hovind hater because what? He has an alternative, which is that God is deceitful.
I don't understand it.
Yep, me neither.
Okay.
When it comes to to all those stones, sir, I didn't want to interrupt you because it was about time you gave people these answers if they were in your heart, but you don't have to because people like me and Stephen and others that love you learn the truth and understand the truth. And it is very important to not judge and get into people's shoes and understand what they've been through. Because if they got out of jail for something that they didn't do and got back to a home where they were asked to rent a small room instead of the whole house and everything that happened, which they haven't researched, why should we even care to give them explanations? Well, God knows everything.
Yeah. That's why the thing about going to jail, people say, oh, Hovind's a convicted felon. First of all, I did not commit a single crime, okay, against the government or anybody else, okay? The government broke 100 laws to put me in prison because of my teaching on video number 5, The Dangers of Evolution. We did a program, was it December 13th or something? We need to write that, December 13th on our channel. What is it? Somewhere mid-December, we did a program explaining why'd you go to jail? I explained the whole thing. The U.S. attorney spent 5 years trying to find something on me to put me in prison. When he finally did, he went and seized the church property in Pensacola. Then he flew to Detroit to have sex with a 5-year-old, got arrested and hung himself in jail. Google John David Roy Atchison. That's the guy put me in prison for taking our own money out of our own bank and nothing illegal about that. So we covered all that on that channel. So no, I didn't commit a crime to go to prison, okay? They committed the crime to put me in prison. But hey, half the Bible's written from prison, so use it. Use your time wisely. I tried to. All right, thank you, guys.
Yeah, and Pastor, I want to just say thank you for having the courage to continue being a soul winner while you're always being under attack by atheists and now other so-called creationists.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, brother. Keep up the good work.
Thank you,
All right.
sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. Stephen, should we keep it up a little bit? Have a couple of discussions here? What do you think?
I think we should. I just need about 5 minutes, so if you can hold it down that long, I will join you back.
Yeah, well, what they say about me is that I interrupt everyone and I just want to talk. So I'll practice that to give them some food.
All right. I'll be right back with you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he actually completely left. All right, so let me give us put me like a little bit on the way and put a better background with some. Where is it? Where is the background? And all right, here we are. So yeah, I'll take a bigger icon. There you go. So before Stephen comes back, actually, I'm gonna throw the link out there for anybody that would like to join. And I'm warning you. Oh, okay, I shot it in the private chat. That was clever. I'm alone and I'm typing in the private chat. How smart was that? So here is See Science. I'm not sure that the link goes to Kent Hovind's channel. I don't think it does actually, because we are restreaming through our StreamYard. Restreaming through StreamYard. Wow. So you might, if you want to come in here, you have to come to Proverbs Guys and get the link from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to announce something for those that are staying here. I'm getting extremely mad lately, and my patience has run out with a lot of stuff. I mean, I can give you like quick examples. What Steven Anderson did for me, Steven Anderson I've been very oh my God, I can't phrase the word. I respected him too much, and I was proven wrong because a lot of people were telling me that he's a hate preacher, and I still don't believe he's a hate preacher. He's the only one that took verse by verse the book of Revelation and explained it to me like I was a child. And that happened back in 2015. He had a playlist which was 22 videos of 1.5 hours each. And he explained the whole book of Revelation to me with his understanding. And that was a good start for me to read further in it. He taught people Greek. He started from ABC. And there's a lot in his preachings that I enjoyed. So I was very disappointed, and I hope that I see him turn around. And when it comes to losing my patience is with people who immediately took that and started making little shorts, like trying to prove that, there you go, here is a creationist who is attacking Ken Hovind and he's calling him a charlatan. And they put that on their channel, which is already dedicated to attacking Ken Hovind. And my patience is running out, or ran out already with you. You know who you are. I'm not going to start naming you. You kept calling him, Steven Anderson, a hate preacher. And when his hate turned to Ken Hovind, oh, now you love him. And now you take his words and you mirror them on your channel. Do you understand what hypocrisy means? Do you understand what a hypocrite is? Or do you only use this when you are told, go to church, and you're like, oh, it's hypocrites there? You should go look into what hypocrisy actually means. So you come in here and you're like friendly and everything. And I cannot, and I will not be friends, just so you know. I will not be friends with those that attack the truth. I will never be a friend with a lie. In other news, here's a word from our sponsors. All right, we have no sponsors. So, all right, Stephen, you better come back. I hope that Stephen Anderson, for me, if not for him, I want him to do me the favor of looking into him and understanding that what he did was wrong, even if he has disagreements with Ken Hovind. Hello, dear.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How are you?
I'm good. As you see, I'm a little mad late today, but lately it's a theme. It's been happening. I don't know if it's. I think it's the hypocrisy of the war above me and the war below me, and what the world still thinks about both these wars. And it's getting me very aggravated because a lot of people are dying and a lot of children, and people are with the wrong side, like all of Europe. The people that people here elected, which I've stopped voting. All Europe, which nobody voted for von der Leyen. Nobody ever did. She just pooped out of nowhere. And the States has the hypocritical Biden, who is at one side supporting, and at the other side, he is pretending to be helping. And you have this going on, and people still think that elections are going to fix this. And we're so close to the end, and people are still.
Shh,
I don't
I'm
want to
not
say the
here.
word. Yeah.
I'm not here.
He's here. Hey, Steven.
It's Zissing Zod. Let me change that. Oh, he left.
What? Nah,
Yeah,
he'll come back.
he's pretty mad at me, I think.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he is. He's been too busy to be mad. And if he doesn't come in to interrupt me, it's gonna turn ugly.
You want me to go? I'll go.
No,
I just want to come in and keep you company and
if
say
you
hi.
wanna, yeah, if you wanna talk, go ahead, interrupt me, because if I keep going, people will get hurt tonight.
Well, let me see. What do I want to talk about? I pretty much feel the same. Well, I mean, obviously I'm not exactly the same, but yeah, I don't know.
This is the world of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
So in case Stephen Anderson does get to watch this, actually, if you YouTube the channel that had the debate, one of which is called Baptist Bias, the Baptist Bias, which I didn't like at the beginning. I was like, what? But they disappeared right the next day. YouTube killed the channel for different reasons, but it coincided with the debate. And if you YouTube it now, you will see videos from people who see more of the truth than the atheists that see somebody who gave Ken Hovind what he deserved. And there are videos right now that are saying this is what you get when you try to frame a child of God. And I press play on that video, and I hear them saying that this had been staged to attack Ken Hovind. So then I hear Stephen Anderson at his church, which BBM uploaded, and he was saying that he warned from the beginning that he wouldn't be friendly. And the host never put that out to Ken Hovind. So in a sense, he did get framed into a situation where he didn't expect. So that channel that is right now there having a video, it says God doesn't like ugly, and what happened was ugly. And I agree. Hello, Stephen, are you finally with us?
So Sorry, I had to restart my phone. But yes, I'm here.
All right. All right. Yeah, I don't know
All
if you
right.
heard what I've been saying, but please interrupt me. Please,
Did
somebody.
we post the link so people can come flood us?
Yes, we did, but I went off a bit mad at the beginning, and I think I scared them away. I put my lion form immediately on. I didn't start like as a kitten.
That's how I got
Well,
in.
if you remember, yeah, brother, if you remember this morning when we were talking, we said the time is right. It's time to do another Lion's Den. So we knew this was going to be a bloody episode. And I'm glad we were able to soften the blow with our favorite creationist. And now we're ready to sink our teeth into some flesh. So, evolutionist, bring it. People in the audience, bring it. But I warn you, bring your A game. Achilles and I have a lot of hunting that we have just cooped up inside us because we've been keeping it in.
Yeah, we've been fasting from atheists, so it's time to
We
break it.
hungry. We're real hungry.
I already threw a couple of bites around. I said that my patience has run out with those that were calling Steven Anderson a hate preacher, and when he attacked Kent Hovind, they started uploading videos on their channel. They should not come around me and call and say hi. I'm not going to be friendly with them anymore. We are very close to the end. Personally, where I am, I have a very hypocritical war above me and a very hypocritical war below me. There are children dying, and I will no longer be patient with those that are attacking the truth any way that they can. If it's Steven Anderson attacking Ken Hovind, Steven Anderson is our friend. If Steven Andrew turns around and attacks Ken Hovind, immediately Steven will become our friend. I'm done with that hypocrisy. So they better know that. I'm just describing what I said while you were gone. So I
That
repeated
makes
it so that
sense. Yeah, well, we already know that they don't observe the same moral code we have, but I'm with you. I'm ready to take the gloves off. I'm tired of these enemies of the gospel
right.
spreading their filth. It's on par with pornography. And I'm ready to start slashing open the bellies of some lies. Let's
And let me
disembowel some liars.
play a small debate game here with you with what you said. They don't have the moral code that we do, and what they say is that they have their own moral code. So do they find it moral to be attacking someone, but then when he attacks someone that they hate more, they side with him? Is that part of their moral? I mean, that's not moral. That's a shithole. I'm sorry, but
You know,
uh, I can
I
go
wasn't
flush.
really that surprised. I wasn't, though. I mean, my heart breaks for people like you and for Joseph because I know you guys love and had a lot of respect for Steven Anderson. But I've known for a long time that he was a filthy hate preacher. He preaches filth. He doesn't preach a pure gospel because you can't preach a pure gospel with hate in your heart. So, honestly, what we got out of Steven Anderson is exactly what I expected. He's a hate preacher, and he exhibited more hate that night.
Okay, and as I've told you before, I wish Steven Anderson would give me a reason to disagree with that, because right now, sir, you don't give me something to disagree with that point. Because what
Mm.
happened the other day, it was not love. And we are directed on how to talk to brothers and sisters if there are conflicts. And you, Stephen Anderson, said to your church that Kent Hovind is calling you once per year or more, asking you to go by or call him so you can solve whatever it is that exists that he doesn't even understand. And you're not doing that. So I can inform you, just as you've taught me a lot of things about the Bible, that that's what the Bible is calling us to do. Reproach privately. Call, it doesn't say call, they didn't have phones, but go private and talk about it. And you might see that you were on the wrong. even if he is on the
Yeah.
wrong. Stephen, what Stephen Anderson has done for me is that Kent Hovind, you know how much I love him, all right? But he's preaching specific things that completely killed the narrative that this world of lies has taught me. But then at some point, I felt I wanted something different. I'm not saying more, but different. I wanted to understand something that Ken Hovind doesn't touch much, like the book of Revelation. So Stephen Anderson had a 22-hour-long series, verse by verse, explaining all the book of Revelation to people with his understanding. So we are all different tools. Some are the feet, some are the hands. We all have different jobs in the body of Christ. You cannot turn around and attack one of the two.
Mm.
So, hello,
Well, and
everyone.
we did have some guests join in. We have Maud on the panel now. We have C Science. Welcome, C Science. And also Dustin Buck is here with us. Hey, everybody.
And hi, Peter.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say hi to Achilles and much love, buddy. I'll catch you later.
Hey. What? All right. Dustin, if you're still hearing me, I think you were typing in another channel. You were in Ken Hovind's channel because I never saw your comments on the Proverbs channel, and I tried tagging you and you weren't there. So I was there. That's why I couldn't see your comments. But I don't know what that was about. But hello, C Science.
Hi, this is Mark of C Science Film Labs. How are you, Achilles?
Hello, Mark. I'm good. I'm
Steven.
We know you, buddy. How you been, man?
Been doing all right. I just dropped in to say hi and see what's going on. I'm not really sure which debate you guys were talking about, but I wanted to drop by and say hi. So
That's the thing. It wasn't supposed to be a debate. It was supposed to be a conversation on the Baptist Bias channel, which was taken down the whole channel like a day or 2 days after this event. But it was a conversation between two creationists, Stephen Anderson and Kent Hovind, and this was maybe a week and a half ago. And it turned into a debate because, amazingly, Stephen Anderson caved and made concession after concession to the point where it ended up looking a lot more like Kent Hovind debating another evolutionist. It was really disgusting all the time Stephen Anderson caved throughout the night.
okay, I think I did see that debate actually, and yeah, the channel totally disappeared the next day because I went looking for it to show a friend, and I'm like, "Where's the video?" So, do you guys have a screen recording of it? Because I'm pretty sure there is one.
You can go to
We
Rumble.
do.
You can find it on Rumble. The channel is the same name, the Baptist Bias, and it's there.
All right, I think
If
I'm
you
going to
can't
screen
find it
record
there,
it.
we do have a download. So if you shoot me your email, I will get that to you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll just screen record it and re-upload it, I think. Because, I mean, it's pretty easy for me. But.
And what is the reason that this has become such a big issue is it's not that he had different views. Is that he straight up was attacking Ken Hovind before he even expressed his views. Like he started saying his view by saying that this is what you always do, Ken, then you are hurting your 6-day creationism, is hurting the truth, and it's hurting the ministry, and that's why I don't like you. So things like that, and you know that's not a way to do a debate. It's not even a debate. It's just a direct attack, which Ken Hovind didn't see coming. So right now there are videos online, which I happened to find because I was looking for the debate myself, and I couldn't find it, but I found other videos that are saying that Ken Hovind got framed that day. He was the only one that didn't know that he was about to get attacked like that. So
And you know what I appreciate? I appreciate that Kent kept his composure. He was smiling through the whole thing, and he acted classy. Kent Hovind was a gentleman that night, whereas Stephen Anderson was a barbarian. And it also baffles me because Stephen is a pastor, and he's supposed to implement Christian ideologies into his daily walk. And one of those ideologies we hold dear to us is that before you go take the speck out of your brother's eye, you take the beam out of your own eye. So I'm just really confused how someone who has been banned from every single country because of his filthy hate speech against people what we consider living in sin, and then he would take that moment while he is hated all the way around the world for his hateful preaching, and he would turn against Kent Hovind for disputes on marriage. Like, it was mind-blowing that a pastor would err that disgustingly.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it seemed like Pastor Anderson started right in attacking Hovind's charts, like his the patriarchs and the timelines. So it was. I mean, there's no such thing as a moderated discussion. Like, those always turn into a debate. Okay, so you got to know going into those things that it's usually set up, and whoever's starting is usually the one that's going to be attacked. So, and a lot of times the opposer, they'll feign their what would be their opening, and say the other one should be able to open before them.
Mark, there's something going on with your audio. You sound very choppy.
Oh, I apologize if I'm roboting out, man.
Okay,
right.
I'm just letting you know in case there's something. Try. Is it a wireless set? Or is it a cable? If it's a cable, try routing it away from the USB port, because there is power going through the USB port, and sometimes, many times, it affects the audio.
Okay, how's this? Is this a little bit?
No, it still doesn't.
No, still
Okay.
does it. Although the weird thing is it didn't for the whole beginning of the conversation.
Sure. Well, that's how it goes, Hey, P-Town.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going, P-Town?
Pretty good. Just juggling babies.
Doing the dad thing, huh?
Yeah.
Well, keep your focus. Don't drop one of them. That would be terrible.
Who are you talking to? Who are
Oh.
you talking? Who are you talking?
Hello. If that's the younger one, it should learn to talk very fast.
I think he's got a 4-year-old too.
Yeah. So, Mark, just for the sake of argument, I kind of disagree. I think that it's not who starts. It has to do with what is in people's hearts. I mean, Ken Hovind doesn't have hate at all in his heart, even for subjects and people that. So he has a thing for flat Earth, right? He doesn't want to hear it, but he keeps saying that those who do, they are dedicated to their Bible. He will not attack them personally. So that's a difference that people must understand when they're going out to debate. I can tell you that I disagree with your point and I find it silly, or I can tell you you are ridiculous for saying that. These are two different ways that show what is in your heart. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, Mark. Hey.
Yeah. Go.
Oh, Mark.
Go.
Mark. See science. Hey. So, from my perspective, it looked like it was supposed to be a discussion, and I agree with you that the appearance of it, with there being a moderator, like those always turn into debates. Well, in this case, Steven Anderson's channel's taken down, so he has to go through someone else. So I could see how that could be disguised as it's just supposed to be a discussion. But anyway, I was upset with Steven Anderson. I mean, shouldn't have Kent. How did not know that? I mean, he's been hate preaching against Kent for years now. So like, shouldn't they have made up before they went on? I mean, like at the same time, it was like not surprising to me. Look at his face. Look at his face when you just instantly. Oh, dude. Yeah, just
we're having trouble. We're having trouble hearing you, there, P-Town.
Sorry, my daughter's from. Just look at his face, Steven Anderson's face. Before it started, I was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be a bloodbath." You know what I mean? Like Kent comes in all
It was
Just like,
that.
hey, brothers.
It
Then
was-
guns were blazing.
it was
Anyway,
there.
I'll mute. Yeah.
It was
Can you hear me
written-
clearly now, there, Achilles?
No, same thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, C Science.
All right. I was just gonna say that, if you can't hear me, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but there's choppiness. But we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Make
say,
your point.
a moderated discussion is usually, it is a moderated debate. And Hovind's been in hundreds of debates, so he knew what he was getting himself into. It was no trap for him. Like, it was a standoff, if anything. So, did that come through clearly?
Yeah.
Seems like it was. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Achilles, do you feel some sort of way towards Kent because he is against flat earthers?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I don't. I'm exactly like him on the subject. It's not a salvation issue.
Sure.
So even if you preach it, it will not get you out of heaven. That's what I would have a problem with. And my statement on the matter is that if you want to talk about it, you better look into it, because you will be surprised.
Oh, you mean flat earthism? You
Yeah.
mean-
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to slap at you today.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing.
It sounded like you're already having a bad day today, so.
I'm not sure if things like that are actually bad days or my best days. Like I'm all like a war child. So when there is something of battling going on, I'm like home,
All right.
So
I mean, if you're
I would
confident,
only
I'll
know.
give you 10 minutes to convince me that the earth is flat if you want. Like, come up with your very best evidence. I'll write it down right now.
I just don't want to do this on this discussion on like tonight, but
Okay.
I'm a little different than everyone on the subject. I am not trying to convince people. I will give some stuff, and if people don't want to go research if why those things don't actually make sense, then I'm done. It's their responsibility. The truth is everybody's
Sure.
responsibility. So it's not like, there are channels that are dedicated on this issue, and I'm not one of them. I'm like, sure, man, for me, it changed everything. And there are mathematics that prove it. But anything the other side has is that ad populum. Everybody believes it. Well, you live in the world of lies. So there's a lot of things that people believed, like evolution. But at some point, we had to wake up to it, to wake up to the truth. And that's how I became a Christian. The system didn't make me a Christian. I had to wake up to the lies of the system to become a Christian. So don't be surprised if the lies are more. Just that. I mean, people get this tendency to believe that, oh, I know all the lies. Sure. So if that's my 5 minutes, let's not do it then.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to turn this little conversation to a debate anyway, so that's good.
But if you are really interested in doing it like as a discussion slash, I'm not sure of debating, because the things I say, people should actually look into them, and there is no time on debates.
That's
what
true.
Time exists, and what happens is that you tell somebody that you give them a question, they don't have the answer, and they immediately hit you with something that you've heard 100,000 times, and you're like, oh God, same thing again and again and again. And I've had this discussion with P-Town, with Steven, and I've heard the same arguments from everyone. But then people are like,
Well,
further. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't argue a lot because I've been very open that I just don't care. I don't see how a round earth or a flat earth can help me win a soul. So I don't have a dog in the fight. I wouldn't be surprised to find out it was even square. But I do lean towards the globe model for the simple reason that Kent Hovind uses this analogy that just touches my heart. And it's that when your sins are put aside as far as the east is from the west, on a globe earth, that never ends. It never meets. It's continually being put further and further apart from you. And as a terrible sinner in my past, I really love that idea.
Would you like me to refute it on a separate show, or do you want me to just say one statement now and refute it forever for you? Do you want to keep your ball?
Let's keep it on a different show, but we can dedicate a whole night to that topic. I'm
Right.
down with that.
Yeah, if it's in such a friendly mood, there are a lot of people in our sub pool that are already there. The thing is that on 2 points you just brought up, I've never heard a single soul say, I got saved because I realized I'm on a ball. It has never happened in the history of mankind. But the other side has a lot of saved souls to claim. B, East-West, it's the same on the model that the true earthers are suggesting. And I call them true because there is a fake flat earth society out there. If you Google, it will bring you up the flat earth society. And it's a fake one. It has a lot of lies. So people can look at it and say, ha, 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 I didn't know it's that ridiculous. No, it's more complicated than that.
Could
Kind
you
of like
answer
AIG.
one?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. Answer me one question though, Achilles. This is something I've been curious about. You have a gigantic telescope. As everyone knows, it's been a subject of conversation many times. Your telescope is gigantic. It's huge. And
Yeah.
we have looked at far distant planets. And my question is on a flat Earth model, with your telescope, why would we not be able to observe the moon 24/7?
So if you are inside a ship and you are in a corridor and you are going towards your room, don't you see the sides of the walls and the ceiling and the floor coming together at the end of the corridor to the center? But as you walk, it's not happening. All the lines are parallel. When you are driving on a highway, don't the lights all seem to converge down on the horizon, but as you go through them, they don't. They all have the same height. So why do you think that if you were to magnify that by a factor of 1,000, it wouldn't happen again?
So is what you're contending that, okay, so on the flat Earth model, Antarctica is actually all around us, isn't that right?
Yes.
Are you contending that ice is so high we can't see over it?
Yeah, you can just Google Antarctic ice wall and you will see it. And they're laughing at you, not you, everybody. With what is that? What's that with the dragons series that I've never watched a single episode? That's why I
House
don't
of
remember.
Dragons?
No, another one.
Pete's
I don't-
Magic Dragon?
No, it's a Netflix thing. It's two tribes. One of them has the dragons, and there is a girl that is controlling them. From what I understand, I don't even know. I haven't watched a single episode. I'm not a great Hollywood fan. I will remember it at some point. But anyway, they show this ice wall in many, many, many films. And yeah, it's pretty big, man. And not only that, when you get there, there's a whole army waiting for you. They won't allow you to go. Now, if you do look into it, you'll see that there is a woman back at the First World War that tried to prove the true shape. And she got up on a Zeppelin because that's the only thing that we had when they said that the world is round. And she got very high on a Zeppelin and took pictures, or she brought her tripod with the old camera that existed at the time. And when she came down to prove it, the World War had begun. So when she was very old, she tried to prove it again. She took dogs and how do you call that? That goes through the ice with dogs. And she went through
I
a
have
dark
no
time.
idea, brother.
Yeah, she tried to prove it again, and the Second World War happened. And then when she was like 75 years old, she went there again, and she was her snowplow, isn't it called a snowplow that the dogs pull? The Santa
Oh, a
Claus
snow sled.
sled. Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
snowplow. Yeah, okay. So she took a snow sled and she went there. We had more modern cameras at the time, and years later they found it with a camera on it that said, "In here is the proof of the truth." So the one that found it took it literally, and he opened the camera, and the film burned. That's what they're saying it happened. But anyway, this story goes far back. Like right now, we have all the evidence, which is from going to space, and then you gotta start questioning those missions. Until you start doing that, and you get fed from a lot of documentaries that we know these things, it's exactly the same as, come on, we know evolution is true. Like we have all that evidence. But if you look into the evidence, you'll be surprised. We didn't.
Well, how can we see the Earth's shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse?
I know you've asked me that before. And,
I only have to ask one question with flat earthers. It's always the same.
yeah, and I told you, I said before you came in here, that this is my non-patient day. So I will respond to you that when somebody gives you 100,000 different things and all you have for them is never listen to what they're saying, but only have this one question, which I've answered you before. I personally don't know, but I know that the model is not true. And I know that the Antikythera mechanism that is 700 BC was predicting eclipses, and the world was not round back then. So tell me how they did that. But instead of answering that or researching it, you keep on coming back and asking me the same question. And I told you I don't know, but maybe when you find the truth, you will be the one to tell us why. I don't know. And
hold on a second. I didn't mean to say it like the way I did. I didn't mean. I'm just cleaning a diaper at the same time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
Not you. It's me, and it has nothing to do with how you said it. It's not how you said it. It is the fact that you are not looking into it. You are waiting.
I've watched all of your videos. I agree with you that a lot of the space stuff's fake. Okay, I think that there is an enemy out there that's trying to. Okay, yeah, I didn't. What? I don't know. Well, think about it. I agree. I don't know if the space stuff's fake, but what I do agree with you on, and we've talked about this, is that the enemy is going to try and thwart us, and the idea of millions and billions of years and evolution and life on other planets, and all of this is just in line with, whatever is going on by the adversary.
And people, good-hearted people, take one slice of that whole lie and they say, "Oh no, that slice is true."
And honestly, you told me you were going to look into it, and I thought maybe you had a new answer. I didn't, honestly, Achilles, I thought maybe you had an answer to my one that I used. Honestly,
I swear, and I will say, I swear to God, I never looked into it deeper on that issue at all. I don't care, because the evidence about it are so many that there are things that I don't have to prove. I'm too busy to sit down. Busy doing what? Working for this ministry, preaching the gospel.
Right. Yeah. There's other more important things. Yeah.
Right. But if you sit down, you'll find the answer. It's there. I mean,
And if I could, Achilles,
I'm
you've
looking
been
for it. I
doing
would
a
love to know.
wonderful.
I'll tell you what. I did. I visited a friendly channel recently, and I couldn't connect to the restream. But what I did, and I did it to Stephen too. Stephen, I know you were trying to interrupt, but so I have a lamp here, and I put it on the face of the camera, and we see if that works. All right, you see this? And I have a DSLR, and I'm gonna take the cap of the DSLR, and I'm gonna bring it in. If I bring it closer and put it over there, hey, look. They are both balls, both of them. So this one is a lamp, and this one is a cup. So the effect that you see it being round. Oh, God, they must be balls. So do you see how assumptions are built?
Oh, no, what are you demonstrating an eclipse? Well, I'm asking about a lunar eclipse, like when an Earth shadow on the moon. Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
With the equipment I had in hand, I could do you a solar eclipse. I'm sorry.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. No. I just was clarifying. Because I didn't want. I want to understand your point. And yeah, no, it's the idea of. I just don't see how that could fit the flat Earth model. Like the
Anyway, I
Earth
think
shadow. Yeah.
we actually dedicated enough time, and I think that if my friend and brother C Science, who is working for the truth, heard this discussion, he should have enough to know that it's more than what is being considered by those that are not looking into it. There is more to it, and you can go to channels like Globebusters, Geronism, and Mellow Dome. And on Mellow Dome, you have to be a little patient with his little bit of a foul mouth and some things that he's advocating, which I don't agree with. But
what are the things you don't agree with?
Weed.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'd talk to him. I mean, if you think he has the answers, or like has the evidence for the flat Earth, then I mean, I'd talk to him about it if you like.
For just so you know,
But I do see what you're saying, Achilles, as far as the ad populum or even arguments from authority. Like, that's no good argument. People can't just say it's globular because the scientists say it is. That's just another person's opinion that they're pointing to. They need to have logical reasons why the Earth is globular. So, but I do want to ask. I would like to ask you one question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, first off, let me say that I've completely missed your the chat. I just saw it, that it has all these, I don't even know what you're saying there, but I saw what you're saying in the private chat, and I don't know. I didn't ban Creationist Crybaby. I just gave him a direct warning with my mouth, and he's welcome to come in and debate that, what I'm saying, because I found his actions detestable.
Tonight or not tonight,
Not
though, right?
Tonight, not tonight. Okay. No.
Yeah, but I think there was just someone timing out people in the chat. I just saw it on the side chat here. You can't really tell who's doing anything. So
yeah,
you know.
It wasn't me. No. I gave you a link in the private chat, and you can come there.
So is Big Bad Mama banned from the chat tonight, or were they just timed out?
I actually don't remember. Creationist Crybaby or Big Bad Mama? Which profile?
Either one. I mean, are either one active in the chat? Or
Creationist was active. I saw today that he got banned, and I'm not sure who did it. I think it was Steven. If he was here, would ask. But why? Because I looked back and I didn't find a reason.
We'll have to ask Steven.
But overall, overall, I had banned BBM in the past, and at some point we unbanned everyone, and we've only timed him out. But overall, there are a lot of people out there that they're not here to listen. And once you time them out, or you even ban them, you shut their mouth. You don't shut their ears. So it is an effective strategy, and they can actually listen. Because when you are too busy focused on what you want to say, you're not actually listening. So it's not like closing the door. It's like closing your mouth and opening the door to your ears. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I could throw out, I mean, it'd be like, if you time people out more, I could see that as something that wouldn't push people away completely. And then they would have to shut up for however long you time them out for, But like when you ban people and they're actually like pushed out of the channel, it's like, ostracizing them from the channel, just kind of pushing them out of the community. And I mean, they could come by and like listen, I suppose.
It begs the question for me now. Then why are they here? Are they here to listen, or are they here to talk?
Probably to chat in the chat. Who knows? I mean, but the more ears on the show, the better, probably, right?
If you are monetizing, yes, but we are not. And if we are preaching something here and you have the anti-log in the chat saying all the time, what you're saying is wrong, we know from science this, and evolution is true, at some point, yeah, I might lose my patience, because I want those that are listening to actually listen and not have somebody taking their attention all the time and saying, no, Kent Hovind is a con man, and he did go to jail for a good reason. I might have to time you out at first and then ban you. Go, you can find another channel. You have a channel that is dedicated to Kent Hovind. Go there and have a lot of fun.
Sure.
So I'm just pointing out, it's not like we're throwing bans around. But if you are here just to do that, yeah, at some point you're gonna get a hammer in the head. I mean,
what would you say? What'd you say if someone said like you're kind of pushing people that are lost or like could come to God, maybe like kind of pushing them away in a way by banning them?
I think a lot of Christians are being fooled by that, by people who are militant atheists. And I'm a child of war. I am born with the armor. Not at the beginning. I got badly wounded and I woke up, and now I'm wearing my armor, and I'm in a battle for souls, and the enemy has his own minions as well. Now, we can save some of those minions, sure, but not if we allow them to go and rant all the time when they feel and they sense that the stream is actually being effective on someone's ears, to get into the other side of their ears and become the other voice. So I will care more for the one that is in the middle and fighting it out, trying to find where to go, than fight for the minion at that moment.
Would you another question I had was, do you feel like your belief in the flat earth, do you think like that gets in the way to you witnessing to people that might actually believe the Bible if it didn't include some flat earth theory in it?
No, I think the globe is actually making people say that God was being metaphorical on some things. Like you take Genesis 1:1, the first verse. God created the heaven and the earth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's not possible on the space that, there cannot be an earth without the sun, but the sun was created on the third day. So the flat earth is actually much more literal, or takes the Bible to completely literally, and it makes more sense. I'm like challenging you to check it out. You'll see it makes much more sense.
Like look at it through that view. So what in Genesis 1:1 about God creating the heaven and the earth? and the order of the creation days, the 6 days of creation, the order of them and what was created in them. What particularly about that points to a flat Earth to you?
That according to the flat Earth theory, the true theory, it's just the Earth. Everything else up there is not visitable. You cannot go there. I mean, there are many things I can tell you scientifically to make you see that as well. Like, you know that in space there's vacuum. There are no molecules. Do we agree?
Well, I mean, there's stuff out in space, but yeah, it's a total vacuum, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. When there are no stuff, it's vacuum, right? Like right outside our atmosphere is vacuum.
Sure.
But the way that we move here on the Earth is we push molecules, and the molecules give us a reaction to the action. We learned that on physics 101, not even 102, right? That as much of an action I give to an object, the equal reaction I receive from it. And then you go to space and there are no molecules there. And we know all these Hollywood movies that have these spaceships and the thrusters push what? They're pushing what? And if
can
it's vacuum,
I interject really quick?
Yeah, I would want to add another point to this, that
Okay.
if it's vacuum creates a pressure differential and it sucks things. So it's trying to balance itself out, right? So it's so if you are on an airplane and you have a pressure in the cabin and somebody breaks the window, you get all that force of wind coming in because the air is trying to balance the two different pressures. And then you have this limit of air that is not being sucked from vacuum. And when you say that to people, there is one word that comes in their minds, blinding them: gravity. Yeah, but if you take Boyle's laws, gases are not affected by gravity. And then people
gases aren't affected by gravity?
Gases are not affected by gravity, and it's Boyle's third law, if I remember correctly. So
all molecules are affected by gravity, though.
There is a type. Boyle's, I think, third law is a type, and it's proving that even if you change the G, it doesn't change the rest of the type.
Right.
So
before we get to Boyle's third law, though, I did have a question. So in your model, you were saying that the sun is special, obviously.
Is what?
The sun is special. Are the rest of the stars not like our sun? Do they have planets around them in your model?
No, they don't.
Okay, so the stars are. So our sun in your model is not just another star. It's
yeah, but you said something that I don't like in that. No, you said our sun is special, but I would say no, you are special.
Sure, everything's special.
No, you are special. And this Earth
the sun is special, but what I mean by special is, do you believe that there are obviously different sizes?
Different than the stars, yes. Yeah, okay. There's something funny with the stars. I mean, you just saw the telescope. So this is a very big telescope to carry around, but it's not the biggest on the Earth.
How big is the mirror in the scope?
14 inch.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice size.
So there are bigger ones, right? But the more you zoom to a star, it never changes. Like, we don't have an instrument to zoom in on a star and see it being like our sun. For example, I have something that is called a bar low, which is you put it at the beginning of the telescope, not at the end, at the final part of it, the big one. You put it at the eyepiece, and it doubles the magnification. So imagine the 14 inch that I have. If I add that, mine is a 2.5 times. So if I add that, It is
It's like a 30-inch.
It is, yeah, it's a 28 plus 6. What was it? Another 7. So it's 36-inch telescope, and
Yeah.
I zoom on a star, and it remains a dot.
Well,
So
sure. The stars will. Yeah. I mean,
the only
stars are so
reason
far away.
exactly.
With the reflector
Or
scopes, we have a 32-inch.
But there is also another alternative.
Sure.
They are not what they are being told they are. So if you read the book of Revelation, which I actually believe you are walking in it right now, and there are a lot of people that don't understand it, a lot, I mean like the majority of the earth.
Well, it's you gotta say it's one of the most cryptic books in the New Testament, and it's I would say kind of hard to interpret. So
I know that, but yeah. I'm a weird person who says that God wouldn't give it to us if it wasn't for our understanding, and we should be studying it and not actually say, hey, you know what,
absolutely.
It's very hard. Because
absolutely, and that's what I was going to say about your points of the flat Earth. Like, you can go look these points up online of what acclaimed evidence of flat Earth is, and it's like, and I guess to be honest, I never really have looked into it very much, but I mean, it's important to learn everything. So it's important to go and search this out, So
that's the thing, and that's how we all start. We started by trying to rebuke it, and we didn't believe the things we were discovering. Everybody that now has a different mindset, they grew up with the globe mindset, just as everybody else. But then they said, you know what? Let me try to prove it to these fools that it's not a disk, and we can't. So according to the book of Revelation, right after the rapture, Satan will be thrown out of heaven, and he will fall on the earth, and there will be a woe upon the earth, because now Satan will not be in heaven if he will be on the earth. And he will also take with him 1/3 of the stars. Now, according to the Bible again, 1/3 of the angels have sided with Satan. But the book of Revelation says he will fall with 1/3 of the stars. It's in the 12th chapter. So we know from the book of Thessalonians that there is a great deception coming from mankind, and it will come with the Antichrist. So my view of that and others is that deception is going to be aliens, and we are being programmed into it for many, many, many years now.
By the media and so on.
Yeah. So, and there will not be aliens, but there will be something. What else could it be if it's not aliens? The only way to know that.
Well, if you don't believe in other planets and stuff, I mean, you believe in other planets in our solar system, right? Just not on these other stars.
I can see them. I've made animations on my channel of them spinning.
Sure. And with your scope, you should be able to see the moons around Jupiter or even the Saturn rings. Yeah.
You should check out my channel. It had the playlist that was called Solar Neighborhood, and I was adding in there the things I was doing with the telescope. But then when my mind changed completely, I changed the Solar Neighborhood title to Heavens Declare His Glory.
Sure.
So in there you will find animations of Jupiter that I've done with this telescope. And you can see Jupiter turning. I'm pointing out the names of the moons. And I used the same telescope to prove that the Juno mission never happened, because they gave us a picture of approaching Jupiter, and the moons were in a specific spot, and they made a mistake. They gave me the time. So I went in a program, and I went in the time, in the exact time frame that footage was, and they were not there. They were on the completely other side. And that's the thing with the Jovian moons. It's very hard to get them at the same spot. their orbits are so different. And every time you look at Jupiter, they will be on a completely new position. Nobody has ever taken a picture of that position. That's very weird. Proves the creator again. So my view of what they are is a little complicated. You will not accept it if I just lay it out there. But we are not. All right. You are being told that they are called planets because from the Greek word wanderer, right?
Yeah, planet is supposed to mean wanderer. Yeah,
Right.
the wandering star, right?
Right. If you do look into the word, though, it doesn't mean that. It means wandering from the truth. It comes from the word deception, which is planieme. And planieme becomes planet. So, yeah, I consider the spell that mankind is under is related to the deceivers that are spinning around us. So
you're saying, as far as the Juno mission, you're saying that never happened because the planets were not in correct time and in the right frame?
And not only that, I was a very scientific mind, and I put the math down, and I should be able to see Juno with my telescope. She has huge solar panels, and at some point they should reflect. So when I looked into it to try to find the exact orbit, you can't find it. When I did find something, they said that, oh, the Juno mission crashed on the moon. Crashed on Jupiter. The mission is over. I'm like, okay. 2 years later, I get new pictures from Juno. I'm like, wait a minute. When I wanted to look into it, they said it crashed on the moon, on the planet. So I go back, I look into it, I go to Wikipedia. It's not saying it crashed anymore. It keeps going. Wait a minute. Where does it find the energy to keep going? So
and they probably do have a lot of literature, that counters itself.
Like
NASA's terrible, man. It's terrible.
I know.
I did want to address Boyle's third law point. I looked it up because I wasn't sure, but I was pretty sure that Boyle's laws, they have a lot to do with pressure and volume rather than gravity.
Yep.
And like as the heat increases on a gas, the molecules begin to get excited and expand in pressure and volume. So it has little to do with gravity, right?
Yeah, but I just said though that you'll see that the process and one of his laws, and I said I'm not sure it's the third one, right?
Sure.
One of them proves that gravity is completely non-related to the process that the gases do. There is a type.
Well, sure, yeah. Well, yeah, because the gases, they'll expand and stuff, but gravity is always a factor.
Yeah, but consider this. So let me tell you something about gravity that was discovered.
Because let's clear this up for the people in the chat, is that the idea is the gravity is what holds the oxygen, nitrogen, what we call air, here onto the planet, onto the globular Earth. So he has to explain that. And that's what we're doing. And which is fine because it's got to be part of his model, which makes sense.
And there is this fine limit on the air where after it, vacuum begins and there are no gases. So gravity is so strong that it's holding all that down, and it's holding all the water down. Because if you take the water, like I have one drop of water and I connect it to another drop. Don't I have now the mass of those two drops together? Multiply that by the oceans of the world. They become one mass. But the Earth has the strength to hold all that mass down. But when I take a spinning ball, which is wet, and I spin it, it throws away all the water. But the Earth is so strong, gravity can hold all that water down, and yet the butterfly just gets up and flies away. I mean, we should all be slithering down, like crawling like snakes, if that strength existed. Now,
Yeah, I mean, the butterfly is an amazing animal. Not to interrupt you, but I mean, the butterfly is an amazing animal. I mean, it defies the gravity because it has to be able to, the lift factor has to outweigh the gravity factor. You know, butterflies are very small, and they're majorly made of, you know, they're most of what they're made up is wing. You know.
Yeah, without ever thinking that before in my life, like it's the first time now that you said that, I think of why this is happening. It's the size of the wings.
Sure.
They can lift so much weight. That's why they are so big. So I guess that is why it looks like it's defying gravity like that, right? But there is an issue here. You cannot have like a law is a law. You know, a law in physics is a law. You can't just have everybody defying the law, but waters and gases obeying it. So you'll see if you start looking into it, there are more than what the eye sees. And we have a sphere around us, which is as far as our eyes can see, which you can multiply with a telescope. But you have the atmospheric conditions if you go horizontally. Like, have you used a telescope? Any size. The size doesn't matter. BBM and Claude would love that. Size doesn't matter. It's how you use it, you know? Have you ever used one?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're amateur astronomers over here in Western New York. I mean, and that's what I find fascinating is that you're an amateur astronomer, and you're also a flat earther, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I gotta go, brother. I gotta go, so I'm gonna beat feet. My wife's back. I'm gonna do some.
I like the term. Yeah, okay. I like the term backyard astronomer. I love that term.
What is it?
Backyard astronomer. You know, we have them at our backyards.
Backyard astronomer. There you go.
Yeah. Let me give you this point. If there is an object in the sky like Jupiter, you are trying to get a picture of it when it is vertical to you, when it is on the zenith of the sky. Because if you go diagonally,
it's the clearest shot.
Right. You get more of the atmospheric.
Along the horizon, you get that pollution.
Right. So imagine tilting the telescope further down. Don't you get the further down you go, the higher exponentially this atmospheric turbulence happens. So that's why we can't use them to see too far, because we are looking horizontally through all the air. But if you go vertically and you look at the zenith, it's as clear as can possibly get. So we have pictures of the island of Crete taken from Egypt. And if you put the math down, this should not be possible. It took a very special day because overall the atmospheric conditions don't allow it. But yeah, let's leave it to that. Yeah, I hope you saw it's not a discussion with a fool, not with me, with those that are into this. It's
before we close up, I mean, I just wanted to say one more question is what kind of evidence? I got a question for you. What kind of evidence would it take for you to believe that the Earth is globular, not flat?
I will answer with a question. What kind of evidence will bring you back to becoming an evolutionist?
If they actually found an articulated Australopithecine, one of those mini Sasquatches from their human evolution theory, if they actually found one of those and could test the bones for me and prove that thing is related to us, then I would probably believe in evolution.
All right. Although I'm not that easy to go back to the globe, I will give you an answer because you gave me one, and now you deserve one from me.
Excellent.
Curvature. When they actually show me curvature.
Okay.
So if you follow that link that I gave you tomorrow, I'll show you a clip from the Chinese space station, because the Chinese, they're not that experienced. And when they put their cameras up there, they forget the fisheye lens sometimes.
Sure.
And you'll be surprised on what you're going to see.
But is it every time? You know what I mean? Like, they can't really be forgetting it every time. Right?
No, all it takes for a liar to be proven a liar is once. You know,
Sure.
So
I mean, yeah,
when
if they're using the fisheye lens, you know, I just like, but then you've got to be, you're calling out like deception there as well. You're like, you know what I mean?
They're all into it, brother. They're all into
Oh yeah.
it, and it will, if you realize it, it will make you start questioning the actions that are taking place on the earth. Like,
so your explanation for the currently given evidence, or the current evidence that of the curvature, like they say that the high elevation weather balloons, the rockets that they send up, you know, it would be the fisheye lens.
We have seen many balloons that they don't have it, and they go very, very, very high, and there is no curvature. Okay. And when you see the curvature and it is in a balloon, I want you to notice something. I want you to notice on any footage that you will find online. I want you to notice that when the camera, as it is moving up and down, up and down, up and down, because it's a balloon, it's not a steady place, you know, and it's moving. As it's moving, I want you to notice that when the Earth is going above the middle of the screen, it's no longer curving as a ball. It's curving concavely. When it reaches the middle, it is completely flat, and when it goes below,
it's rocking. Yeah, and that's the fisheye lens. And I will not deny that they use a fisheye lens on those high elevation weather balloons.
The question is, though, why?
Why? True.
Why fail every mission? Today, not even yesterday, today, I watched a 2-hour-long stream that you can go watch at NASA's website today, which was preparing us for the launch of the Soyuz. So as I was watching it, at the end of it, the towers left the missile, and right before the countdown, on T-20, they canceled the mission. There was a problem. So somebody that was watching this for 2 hours, when tomorrow they hear, hey, we made it today, but we didn't give you a live stream of it, they will buy it because they will think that, yeah, it was just an accident. So there's all the problem that exists is people's attention. It's not like it would change the whole world for them, but it actually does. It literally changes the whole world for you. So it actually does matter, and people should look into it. The more people don't look into it, the more they will be for the globe. And since we've been at this for so long, I want to make a statement to you, and we are actually also live. There are some people out there like Kent Hovind that I love so much. They are bringing people to the truth, and I don't think they should even start preaching that, because you can teach an old dog new tricks. Kent Hovind has done so much damage already, and 10 or more years ago, he said something which for me is very important. He said, I killed the evolution dragon. Don't expect me to kill all the other dragons. There are many. So it's up to others to continue. There is a narrative that goes from the Big Bang all the way to you with no God anywhere in the process. And that's the narrative that this world is teaching us. And there are people that say that there is one slice of that they wouldn't lie to me. It's okay. I don't hate them, but it's going to be very hard to bring me back, me and others. So funny thing is that this discussion has never happened on this channel because a lot of people like to ridicule it, even though I think that they are ridiculing themselves. They are proving how much they are not looking into it. But
Well, you don't
yeah.
hear me laughing at you. You know, I mean, I take, conversations pretty seriously. So, I mean, for me, it's like I want to finish by saying, it's true that they have used fisheye lenses and used them in the high elevation mother balloons. And that's why, like I said, when you get the rocking, it'll look flat and then go back, even concave and then come back around to a curvature. But it's like, you're not going to be able to see the sphere of the Earth, obviously, because you have to get, you have to get hundreds of thousands of feet in the air to see the sphere of the Earth. But to see the curvature of the Earth, I think you can begin to see the curvature of the Earth in tens of thousands of feet. And like the commercial airliner planes, they fly in a range that goes well above 45,000 feet in the air. So you're looking to be able to see even like the sphere of the Earth, like the beginning of the sphere of the Earth, I'd say, would be like 80,000 feet. But you could begin to see the curvature of the Earth, right?
If you put suspicion in your eye, you will start noticing that they are using the same lens on the ISS. And
on the space station, yeah.
Yeah, and they are cutting the footage. And whenever they are actually pointing at the Earth, you can never tell where it is. It's always.
So you're saying computer graphic, even photoshopping going on?
Big green screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also a video editor, and I know that if you give me something with a completely pitch black background, I can lay out anything behind it. If you want
no doubt.
If you want to make it green, it will be even better because there are black things in shades and the algorithm gets confused. That's why we use a green screen, because it is the tone that is further away from the human flesh, and that's why they use that color a lot. So yeah, so if they are taking 80 million per day and they are lying to you, don't you see a motive here other than hiding
the money, obviously? Well, NASA, they get a lot of money. It's true.
I mean, I think it's the whole of the economy of the planet. That kind of money, 70 million per day. I think it's the black holes are real. Look at that budget, and you will understand that that's the black hole of economics of this Earth.
There you go.
I mean, that's a lot of money, man. So, honored to be of assistance on the issue, and if you copy that link, you can check it out tomorrow and the day after.
I will.
The day after. This is what we call my office. And if we are backstage, I can actually show you also stuff, because for some reason, YouTube doesn't like this discussion. I wonder why.
Sure. All right, Achilles, you be good. Stay strong and God bless, man. I'll talk to you later.
Friend. Glad to talk to you.
Bye now.
Take care. Okay, everybody. That was unexpected, but I already said I'm in a nasty mood, so I didn't push it away. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Let's talk about it. So, so we should probably cut this stream down to 2 different streams. I want the Ken Hovind thing to be completely separate from this discussion, so I will get onto that. And maybe I won't even upload this. Maybe this was just for the ears of those that hanged around. Now, before I close the stream, let me check the chat a little bit. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Steven, I know, exclusive. Oh, look, how many comments, man. I will try. Yeah, Eric, I don't like Eric Dubay much. He appeared out of nowhere and gave us a lot of good points on the issue. But at the same time, he's preaching Buddhism. And my statement on Buddhism is that it's bullism. So there's something going on. Like it's been 10 years since Eric appeared, and then he disappeared, and then he appears out of nowhere 5 years later, and then he gives us another yoga discussion. And just because everything is about our souls, there will come people that will give you truth and poison within the truth and tell you that, yeah, that's the truth on that issue. And if you believe that, then you also have to not fall for the other lie, which is Christianity. And that, for me, is a problem. I don't care what shape you think you're on. I want you to know where you will find the truth. And it's the book that we have on the background here. Everything else is a lie. So if you are preaching the lie, you got to be careful, even if they're preaching the truth. Now, Rob Skiba, he did a lot of good work, and his wife is still in the Globebusters team. And I've been in a couple of their streams with the telescope, and we've actually proven through our streams, even here, that there is an issue. And I will remember to ask C Science next time why I focus on the moon and then I turn to Jupiter and I don't have to refocus my telescope. Because according to the model that I grew up with, those objects are not close. I should be able to refocus in order to focus on one of the two objects. But anyway, if people want to look into it, they can. I'm not the perfect guy, maybe. People are putting math down, and I don't feel like doing that. For me, just so you know, those that are still around, this is a 2015 situation. I picked it up in 2015. I researched it. I could not believe my eyes. And then I kind of moved on to Christianity more and more and kept preaching about salvation because that's what matters. So, unfortunately, I can't check all your comments, but next time you'll see me live, I will have answers. I mean, look, if I try reading, I will keep responding, and each response will be taking me another 5 or 10 minutes. But I think Luke is on my side, brother. Yeah. Gravity theorized in 1666, funny number, and it is the only law in physics that doesn't have to go through the scientific process. Every other law is a hypothesis until we prove it in a lab, but not gravity. Gravity, we just bow to it. And if you look at the Masonic logo, it has a G in the middle. And it has a compass and a ruler, just like saying the center of the construct is G, our G spot. And it's our blind spot. Nobody dares to look into that. They find it silly. So anyway, this is what happened tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. I did. So we'll see you on the next one. Before I go, I have a tiny little clip with which, yeah, I can end the show with this. Take care, everyone.